First of all, I don't know if you know what the Institute of Peace is. Fast Eddie, have you ever heard of the United States Institute of Peace prior to me bringing it up right now? It's okay if you haven't, because I certainly haven't.
Never in my life have I heard of the Institute of Peace, Chris. No. Sorry.
I had to look it up because I didn't even know what it was. And what does the Institute of Peace do, for instance? This is what Google says. The United States Institute of Peace promotes research, policy analysis, education, and training on international peace and conflict resolution in an effort to prevent and resolve violent conflicts and to promote post-conflict stability. Sounds nice. Sounds like gobbledygook, but sounds nice. Who runs the United States Institute of Peace? Somebody called Lisa Grande. Then a guy called Joseph Latali is the financial director. Paul Hughes is the director of overseas safety and security. They have a bunch of vice presidents. Who funds the United States Institute of Peace? I bet you can get this one fast, Eddie. Who funds it?
The USAID?
Yeah, well, us. In short, us. You and me, the taxpayer. That's who funds it. Congress. That's the long and the short of it. So on Friday, a small group of U.S. Institute of Peace employees received, all but a small group, received formal termination notices effective immediately. This ends the employment of almost everyone at the United States Institute of Peace. It's a big building on Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C. I don't remember it, but it's beautiful. It's huge. You should look up the picture of it, because I assume most of your tax dollars built it. And now it's empty, just like the USAID building is empty. And the Department of Education building is empty. And these should be auctioned off immediately to the highest bidder and put back in taxpayer coffers, but I digress. That's a real estate story for another day. The employees who remain active may include senior officials who are expected to help shutter overseas offices, as well as some human resource officials, all of whom are expected to ultimately be terminated. And it goes on to describe fights with judges over it, blah, 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 blah. Now, that you say, okay, fine, DOGE found another wasteful program. So what, Stigall? Well, it's more interesting than that. Got a couple of pieces here this morning, one from Amuse on X. The DOGE team found, after fighting for days to gain access to the United States Institute of Peace, they got help from the FBI and the Metropolitan Police in D.C. Is anyone else talking about this today but me? Serious question. I bet you don't see it. I bet you haven't read it. I bet you don't hear it. The FBI and Metro Police in Washington, D.C. helped DOGE get access to the United States Institute of Peace. And therein, of course, they discovered massive fraud, massive abuse, and massive waste. But are you ready for this? Strap in. They found payments, and this is, again, the source I'm using here today is somebody called Amuse on X, but Elon has responded to a couple of these posts confirming that this is so. Payments to the Taliban and Iraq directly. Hello? That's a significant bit of news, isn't it? If this isn't leading the news soon, then journalism has learned nothing in this country. Elon Musk says the United States Institute of Peace deleted a terabyte of financial data. Now, that's a lot, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not familiar with metrics on computer storage, a terabyte's a lot of storage. So the Institute of Peace has deleted a terabyte of financial data linking them to funding the Taliban and Iraqi leaders. But the DOGE team was still able to recover data due to the agency's ineptitude with technology. This was another post from somebody called Autism Capital on X, and yet again, it was confirmed by Elon personally. Yep, that's what we found. Now, let me read that again, because I doubt anybody else is reporting this, and all I can go off of is Elon's own confirmation that this is true. The DOGE team, with the help of the FBI and the Metro Police in Washington, D.C., gained access to this building called the United States Institute of Peace. And they found that they tried, on the way out the door after laying all these people off on Friday, they tried to delete a terabyte of information, but the DOGE computer geeks, the Geek Squad, they're good at this stuff, and so they were able to figure out how to get it back. They said their ineptitude with technology enabled them to find it again, and what they found, Taliban and Iraqi leaders' direct payment from the Institute of Peace. Elon Musk has confirmed this himself on X today. Now, that's all I know about it, but that seems like a substantial story, doesn't it? Pretty easy way to see who's practicing journalism right now and who's in the business of propaganda and narrative pushing. This should be a leading story. It should be shocking. And DOGE, of course, should again be applauded. It's a huge scandal. Now, again, Elon says it's true. There is not another news source, to my knowledge, that's reporting that this morning. If you see it, Fast Eddie, please alert me. I don't know that there's a single entity out there reporting on this but us. Now, I remind you, because I had to go back and just kind of refresh my memory what they found at USAID, and that's just, that's carnival stuff compared to this. Massive waste and fraud in contracts. DOGE asserted it identified significant mismanagement in USAID, approximately $32.5 billion. DOGE has flagged over 5,200 of their 6,200 contracts, about 83% as wasteful and fraudulent. And you remember the list. The $20 million grant for Iraqi Sesame Street, $900,000 to a Gaza-based organization labeled by some as a terror charity, systemic inefficiencies of $8.2 billion, and on and on and on. This was the firm that, Irish, lesbian, trans theater and all that crap. He's uncovered now, it appears, in USAID and this Institute of Peace, two huge money laundering efforts, probably kickbacks aplenty to members of Congress on Capitol Hill, but certainly going to really bad actors. Everybody from people in Gaza, probably Hamas specifically, to now we believe Taliban and Iraqi leaders' direct payments through this U.S. Institute of Peace. This is huge. And that speaks nothing of what Elon was saying yesterday about the number of people who are out there getting Social Security benefits that shouldn't be. Elon's in Wisconsin right now. And again, remind me why we hate him. Everything I've just shared with you, can you remind me why he's the bad guy? Musk sharing a mind-blowing chart showing millions of non-citizens given Social Security numbers under Joe Biden. The event came just a day and a half before the polls opened in the contentious state judicial race in Wisconsin. It was a Sunday town hall, garnered a lot of attention. $1 million checks to two Wisconsin voters who signed the petition. We talked about that yesterday. We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security, he said during this event, to understand where all the fraud was. But what jumped out at us when we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? Referring to the total number of non-citizens who received Social Security numbers between 2021 and 2025. The chart showed a steady year-over-year increase under Biden, reaching more than 2 million in 2024. In fiscal year 2023, roughly 1 million non-citizens were issued Social Security numbers. Mind-blowing. And then you can, of course, imagine that many of them are beginning or will draw Social Security. And that's not to speak of Medicare and Medicaid. DOGE said it has removed approximately 7 million Social Security accounts belonging to people listed as being over 120 years old. DOGE has found through its audits that the Social Security database included 20 million dead people marked as alive. Remind me again why we're setting Teslas on fire? And by we, I mean, of course, the lunatics. They're trying to distract. They're trying to make this guy an enemy. The biggest scandals, the biggest waste, the biggest fraud in American history probably is being uncovered right before our eyes, and nobody's talking about it. They're lighting Teslas on fire and pretending Elon's the enemy. Wrong.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.